Hello, folks. It's Jay. Thanks for listening to another episode of Blockbusting. Today's episode is real great. I got my old buddy Gordon Downs on to talk about The Crow, the old comic book goth masterpiece where Brandon Lee got murdered during the filming of it by accident. Oh boy. This is a real dicey, fun episode, so I hope you enjoy it. If you like the show, please tell a friend and join the Facebook group, which you can join by clicking the link at the top of the show notes. I know it's a closed group, but if you click it, I will approve you because clearly you've taken that much effort, and I want you to be a part of this wonderful Blockhead Nation. So get on in there, guys. Enjoy this episode.
Let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting. I'm your host, Jay Light. This is the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm all out of order because I'm tired. I just drove down to San Diego so I can be with my guest today, my friend, wonderful comic and comedy writer, Gordon Downs.
Thank you. I am two things, not just one.
You're a dog mom.
I am a dog mom.
You're a
mentor.
You're a mentor.
Yes. I'm a mentor to many.
Yes, you have mentored me. You've given me lots of good career advice.
And now you've gone on to surpass me, as you should have.
That's the
You're
that's
young.
the goal of
That's
any good
why I
mentor.
teach people. I'm a cautionary tale, as T.J. Miller would say. Do as I do. Don't do as I do.
Isn't he a cautionary tale now too, though?
Yeah.
Oh,
He doesn't get
boy.
booked a lot. He gets booked all over the place. What are you eating?
We got a.
Speaking of dog mom.
Usually we record at my house or my apartment, and there's a cat who's real chill, and now we have a dog who chilled out now. But when I first showed up,
aggressive.
very very aggressive. So you may hear Lila.
Very territorial, but it's Blockbusting on the road.
Ooh.
Comic-Con edition.
First Comic-Con. Oh my God, yeah. And we're talking about, I guess, a comic book movie.
Very fitting, actually.
Yeah, this is fitting. This is The Crow.
1994.
You hate The Crow. 1994 American superhero film. Directed by Alex Proyas, written by David J. Show and John Shirley, stars Brandon Lee in his final film appearance. The film is based on James O'Barr's 1989 comic book The Crow and tells the story of Eric Draven, a rock musician who is revived from the dead to avenge his own death, as well as the rape and murder of his fiancée. This film it's well rated. It doubled its budget back at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also infamous because Brandon Lee died because of injuries he sustained while filming the movie.
That's right.
So this movie, and I'd heard of it because of that. And I knew, because every once in a while you fall down a Wikipedia hole of like deaths that happen during movies. And once you get past John Landis, then you're like, oh, Brandon Lee.
By the way, just on a tangent, I was actually on that Wikipedia page like 2 days ago. I keep forgetting because that Eddie Murphy article about John Landis was circulating about how he hired John Landis to do Coming to America. And it was right after The Twilight Zone where he killed that veteran actor.
Right. And 2 kids.
2 Vietnamese child actors.
Man.
They were fucking decapitated.
Yeah. By a helicopter.
And this is the thing. After working and being on TV sets a few times now, you're kind of like, oh, this is how it goes. Like, and this was like the 80s. You're like, oh, shit, these kids shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
And then the child labor laws changed because of that. But, oh, yeah, John Landis killed Vic.
3 people. What was his name?
Vic Dunlop or something?
Yeah, something like
and
that.
And he was actually like Jennifer Jason Leigh's father.
Oh.
She's like a famous actress. That was her dad who died on the set of fucking Twilight Zone, the movie. But yeah, I don't know if the listeners will remember this. At least maybe the millennials won't. Brandon Lee's father,
Bruce Lee.
the karate legend. I don't know. Martial arts.
Kung Fu. He's martial arts.
Martial arts. He combined all those
Right.
things. Karate,
He invented his own. Yeah, he invented what's his style called? Wushu?
Oh God, I don't know.
Maybe? Hold on. We're going to look this up.
Yeah, this is as you look that up. Let me just explain.
Pontificate. Explain what you got.
I guess 94. I don't want to date myself because I know there's a lot of listeners out there that are going to want to follow me for my hip young.
Your hip young
my
takes.
hip young tweets. Like, oh man, this guy hates The Crow. I got to see how he feels about Trump. I was a junior in high school in 94.
Okay.
So the girl I was dating, and I'll say her name because she may be dead. I'm just kidding. She's not dead. She probably lives in the hometown, our hometown still. Christina. I shouldn't say her last name. She was a Latina gal.
Christina the Latina gal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were dating at the time. And I think we went to see this movie together. And later on, we ended up breaking up. Not soon thereafter. And she got back together with her cholo boyfriend. And then he got her pregnant. And then she had a kid who she named after the lead character in this movie, The Crow.
She named him Eric?
She named him Draven.
Draven. Oh, no. Oh, no.
His name is Eric Draven.
See, okay, for my first problem with this movie,
The
if his
child.
last name is Draven, why don't they just call him the Raven?
Draven the Raven?
It's right there.
Listen, James, as a comedy writer, you know that's gold.
It's
That's
right
a
there
slam
the whole time.
That's a slam dunk. But they were going for a very gothic, kind of somber, melancholy. And this is several years before Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness came out. This is 94.
Yeah, this got that kind of, it's very gritty, industrial,
Yeah.
like 9 Inch Nails-y kind of
If you
aesthetic
listen,
to it.
that's the thing. The movie was well received, but the soundtrack, I want to say it was kind of legendary because it had a Stone Temple Pilots song on there, Big Empty.
Yeah, it had, I'm looking up the
Helmet,
soundtrack.
The Cure.
The Cure was, I mean, I recognize The Cure. And 9 Inch Nails actually is on it,
No,
covering
I know,
a Joy Division song.
I had a copy of the soundtrack. It was a brilliant soundtrack. 9 Inch Nails covering Joy Division. That's, I mean, how much gloomier can you get?
Crazy. Pantera. We've got
Helmet, Milk Toast.
Jesus and Mary Chain.
This is a great soundtrack. I'm going to be honest.
My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. Rage Against the Machine.
Slip Slide Melting.
But anyway, so this movie
It holds a
has
dear
a
place to
soundtrack,
me
and it
because
holds a
of
place.
that, and because I know there's a young man. He's probably 18, 19 now. He's out there and he's living with this name. And I don't
Draven.
know. I'm sure his mom told him. She still lives in our hometown of El Centro, California.
Uh-huh.
So, but also just there's a lot of like whoever was doing the props on the movie. Fucking a man died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A man died. So
It's one of those things that like you hear about it, and the fact that stuff like this happened boggles my mind. Especially not only that it happened at all, that also that they put their lead actor in literally the line of fire.
what's weird is it's like it's a prop gun, right? It's a movie. It's not real. It's not a documentary.
Right.
Why would they ever need live ammunition?
So for those of you who haven't seen it,
Mm-hmm.
it's on Netflix. It's worth a watch. I hadn't seen it. I will get into my problems with the movie in a minute.
Is it
but
on the flicks?
It is. That's how I watched it.
That's what I call it.
The flicks. You pay your flicks bill. I just go there for the deeves. All right. So in the scene in which Lee was accidentally shot, Lee's character walks into his apartment and discovers his fiance being beaten and raped by thugs. So this is very early on in the movie.
You know, that's how I like it. That's why I don't like the movie. It opens so strong.
It's bold. Actor Michael Massey's character fires a .44 Magnum Smith & Wesson Model 629 revolver at Lee as he walked into the room. A previous scene using the same gun called for inert dummy cartridges fitted with bullets, but no powder or primer to be loaded in the revolver. For close-up scenes that utilize a revolver where the bullets are clearly visible from the front and do not require the gun to actually be fired, dummy cartridges provide a more realistic appearance than blanks, which have no bullet. Instead of purchasing commercial dummy cartridges, the film's prop crew, hampered by time constraints, created their own by pulling the bullets from live rounds, dumping the powder charge, and reinserting the bullets. However, they unknowingly left the live percussion primer in place at the rear of the cartridge. At some point during filming, the revolver was apparently discharged with one of these improperly deactivated cartridges in the chamber, setting off the primer with enough force to drive the bullet partway into the barrel where it became stuck, a condition known as a squib load. The prop crew either failed to notice or failed to recognize the significance of this issue. The fatal scene, which called for the revolver to be actually fired at Lee from a distance of 12 to 15 feet. The dummy cartridges were exchanged for blanks, which feature a live powder charge and primer but no bullet. This allowing the gun to be fired without the risk of an actual projectile, as the production company had sent the firearms specialist home early. Responsibility for guns was given to a prop assistant who was not aware of the rule for checking all firearms before and after any handling. Therefore, the barrel was not checked for obstructions when it came time to load with the blank rounds. Since the bullet from the dummy round was already trapped in the barrel, this caused the .44 Magnum bullet to be fired out of the barrel with virtually the same force as if the gun had been loaded with a live round, and it struck Lee in the abdomen, mortally wounding him.
Oh my God.
He underwent 6 hours of surgery and was pronounced dead at 1:03 p.m. on March 31st, 1993, the age of 28. 28. He got shot. It's 1:03. So he got shot 6 hours prior. 6 hours of surgery. So probably like 7 hours prior. So he got shot at what? Like 6 in the morning? What a way. The best part of waking up is a bullet in the abdomen. Fuck that. No, thank you.
What sucks is if he just 1 year earlier, he could have been part of the 27 club, you know?
I know, and then he could have gotten, then we just got stuck with Amy Winehouse instead. So much for that. Who knows? It would have been so eerie, him and Kurt Cobain at the same time.
94. And, honestly, and to bring it all back, Bill Hicks.
Oh, yeah.
Also happened in 94.
That's right. Bill Hicks, not 27, but a good year. 94.
32. 94 was a bad year for arts.
Yeah. So the craziest thing to me at the end of the day is not that they finished filming the movie, because that clearly,
They had to.
You sink a lot of money into the movie, and Paramount bowed out. Miramax, good old Harvey Weinstein coming into the clutch and giving them some money, gave them $8 million
To finish
it. Yeah. And
wait a second.
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein?
Miramax, yeah. It's Weinstein's. Harvey and Bob.
Can I do my impression of Harvey Weinstein getting that call?
Yes, please.
Okay, good. I was wondering what you were doing. I thought you were taking a shit. Talking to my dog.
I thought that was your Harvey Weinstein impression.
Yes. I thought you were taking a shit.
I thought you were going to take a shit on my chest.
We're gonna help him out. This is my impression of Harvey Weinstein getting the call that they need to lend this movie $8 million because the lead actor died.
And action.
What? They shot him? Well, who did? Well, how much do we need? I guess I can cover it. I'll tell you this though, someone's gonna suck my dick. That's my Harvey Weinstein. That's my Harvey Weinstein.
That's pretty good. That's a good Weinstein.
I just kind of riffed that.
I like it. I think. That's, you know what? If we didn't have, if Brandon Lee didn't die, then that might be what created Harvey Weinstein.
There'd be no Pulp Fiction.
There would be no Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction was probably in production while this was being urinated upon.
Yeah, I bet you the Harvey Weinstein probably got the call while he was looking at weird feet pictures with Quentin Tarantino, and then all of a sudden, oh, you need me to sink another $8 million into this? Cool. That's fine. I'll do it. I didn't put as much effort into my impression of him as you did, but I don't want it to sound like I have that many jowls right now.
No, I don't. Yeah, I do have. I'm much closer to his body type. You're in great.
I've been intermittent fasting, Gordon. I've got the mental clarity to make jokes about Harvey Weinstein, but not the physical.
I do intermittent fasting.
Prowess.
I do intermittent fasting too, and it's called sleeping. That's the hacky.
Gordon's version of intermittent fasting is he's intermittently fast because of how chubby he is these days.
It's called intermittently fatting.
But okay, this is crazy to me that all of this happened, and nowhere along the way did anybody think any of this was a bad idea. Like, you and I both have worked in production on film and TV for a fair amount of time. And the idea that anything unsafe happens at all is insane. Like, we have to do on MasterChef, we have to do checks for literally everything. You have to have a check anytime that they want to show off what fireworks look like. We did a scene with a helicopter. Speaking of John Landis, for the top of MasterChef season 10, because they're like, it's season 10, we wanted to do something big. So we got a helicopter. And our AD we had multiple safety meetings where they're like, all right, everybody stay the fuck away from the helicopter. Unless you're supposed to be in range of the helicopter, we are going to have guards that are there to keep you away from stepping into range of the helicopter. And range is also so far away. So like you're even if you got in range, you're not going to get hurt. But the idea that anyone could even potentially get hurt is so frowned upon. I can't imagine what happened. How did it change over time to where they were this lax? Where they were just like, we don't need a gun expert. Oh, the guy with expert in the title? Yeah, we don't need him for this incredibly difficult scene we might be about to shoot. Let's give it to the fucking assistant who probably only got here because he's someone's kid.
They're like, what happened to the gun expert? Well, Harvey called him into his trailer.
He heard some sort of load needed to get blown, I think.
They need help with his loads.
This is crazy to me that it happened that way.
It's crazy that they're like, hey, Brandon, why don't you go stand over there while we fire this gun at you? It's like, isn't that what they have body doubles for and shit like that? They're like, no, send the body double home. Him and the gun expert are going to go get some soup.
You know whose body double was, too, by the way? Chad Stahelski, who directed John Wick.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah. Once Brandon Lee was dead, they were like, what do we do? And so they're like, all right, Chad, you're up. But also, you're clearly not Brandon Lee. We're going to CGI his head over your body.
I remember that.
And he finished out the movie. And then Chad Stahelski used all of the knowledge of how to make guns look cool but not hurt anybody to turn it into John Wick.
He directed John Wick.
The entire series.
So Brandon Lee's death really sort of catapulted him.
Yeah.
Is this like a true crime podcast we're doing right now?
I guess so.
Or is this a fucking movie podcast? Because I think we just figured out Brandon Lee's death.
I think we did. Brandon Lee's death turns out had a ripple effect on like all of Hollywood that I don't think anybody even thought about.
Chad Stahelski.
I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Hashtag Stahelski.
Stahelski.
Hashtag murder.
I tried that one out. Didn't work out.
He's the one who fucking loaded that shit up.
Oh my God. What if?
Dude, I don't think anyone's even like considered like this.
Okay.
A horrible accident to the Lee family, and we're like making fun of it.
Well,
that's what we do.
Here's another horrible thing that happened to the Lee family after this movie.
Oh, shit.
So, Roger Ebert loved this movie, by the way. Roger Ebert called it a stunning work of visual style, and he said it was not only Brandon Lee's best film, but it was better than any of Bruce Lee's films.
Whoa. A fucking dick.
Which is crazy. He also said it's better than Batman and Blade Runner.
Jesus Christ.
Roger Ebert really loved this movie.
He's really sucking Chad Stahelski's dick on this one.
I think he's sucking Harvey Weinstein's dick on this one.
Can I say this?
That's why his jaw broke, because he had to suck Harvey Weinstein's dick so much.
I was about to say, I don't think we can trust anything Ebert says, because we all know during the 90s is when he was chewing a lot of tobacco. So...
God, I wish I could have met Roger Ebert just once after he got the robot jaw, just to see him. He got a robot jaw, and I would love to see him just talk like a ventriloquist dummy. I really like this movie.
Those two guys.
I think it's 4 stars.
Those two guys, and we all watched them Saturday afternoon. You know, those two guys, Siskel and Ebert, they really fell apart there.
Well, what happened to Siskel?
He got cancer, didn't he? Like, died.
Did Siskel get cancer? I know Ebert got cancer.
No.
Roper's still out and about doing who knows what.
No, Siskel didn't fare well.
Shooting ropey loads all over the critical world. What is Gene Siskel up to?
I will say, before we go wander off, I will say this. I think Siskel's dead, man.
Siskel's dead. Siskel died in 1999.
Yeah.
He died. He did die of cancer. He had a brain tumor.
He was the first one to go.
Yikes.
Ebert was there just haunting us, with his dead eyes.
Ebert. Damn.
I'll say this. For him to say those movies were better than any of Bruce Lee's movies, it wasn't a kung fu karate film.
Right.
There were elements of it, but one of my big things, other than my first Chola ex-girlfriend memories, is that it was just sort of the hot topic culture sprung forth into movie life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing, because like
And there's a lot of movies like that now, but that was the first one of that where it was like,
right. That was going to be my biggest question is you're a teenager at the time that this movie is in theaters. Was this is like the breaking ground for this kind of a movie and this kind of an aesthetic, right?
I will say this because back then it was not so saturated as it is now in the movies cinema. I was there for Boys in the Hood. I remember seeing that in the movies.
Okay.
8th grade year, we had to sneak in. And that was like the first big black film that's kind of directed at young black youth culture.
Right,
Ice
that
Cube's
was
first movie.
91?
1990, I think
90.
it was. 1990. So that was 4 years before this. And then I think a year later was Pump Up the Volume, which was sort of like the indie alt culture movie with Christian Slater as a pirate radio DJ.
I've never even heard of that.
You never heard of Pump Up the Volume?
No.
Oh, we should have done that, but I love Pump Up the Volume. I have nothing but good things to say about Pump Up the Volume.
Well, I'll watch that. I'll watch that later on.
Mr. Robot? No. It was Slater in his most Holden Caulfield, I will say.
Okay.
And then you had then things started happening, like The Crow and Clueless. You know what I mean?
Clueless is great.
It's much more homogenized thing. But yeah, the soundtrack, the fact that you could, the T-shirts, the album, the posters, the VHS.
Mm-hmm. Collectible.
Everything. And then they made a sequel. And it was his last film. And then what's sad is if you look on his IMDb, he had one other movie where he was like a guy waiting in line, and they just kind of CGI'd it. It was like in 2000.
Oh,
They're like, Brandon
God.
Lee's in our music video. It was like a music video. That was his last credit.
Ugh.
And it's like, that's when I think using technology is like best. Like, yeah, I'll pay to see Tupac rap as a hologram, but don't bring me back from the dead to wait in line in some fucking dude's music video.
So let me ask you this. So aside from all of the stuff with the culture that is around this movie, and then of course all the fucking safety issues, what do you think about the movie itself? Because we haven't really touched on that.
Aesthetically, I mean, it's just a movie. You know what I mean? It's just another piece of shit movie. Oh, I'll say this too. Here's another weird connection. That girlfriend, Christina, the ex-Chola.
Christina the Latina.
The former Chola, my first girlfriend. She had a thing for Bruce Lee. And so I would always shoplift her Bruce Lee VHS tapes because I was a thief and I was a teenager. So,
Man, so much cooler than me.
there was, well, it was from Kmart and Walmart. They were always there. So I was always like stealing her like Bruce Lee, like afternoon matinee movies, like, Fist of Fury,
Okay.
Faces of Death, all that shit. Is it the Faces of Death?
I think Faces of Death is the one where they eat monkey brains, and it's not a
accidentally
Bruce Lee movie.
I accidentally gave my girlfriend the
Maybe
Faces
that's why
of
she
Death.
broke up with you, because you gave her Faces of Death. And you were like, look at this new Bruce Lee movie. Oh, it's a person getting murdered as they get hit by a car? Ah, shit.
I gave my girlfriend Faces of Death. I got this for you at Walmart. It's Game of Death. Jesus Christ.
I like the porn parody of Faces of Death. Oh, Faces of Death. Hey.
It's the world's edgiest snuff film.
Oh,
So
boy.
that's another connection there because it's like her son died, and it's like, oh, that's a movie we saw, but aesthetically, it's just another. It's very dark. If you look at it, there's a lot of rain. There's a lot of
Right.
dark thing. It's very similar to a Judgment Night because it's all like in alleys and like a lot of brick. And
Right. And
things are
it's
wet.
all taking place over the course of, I mean, two separate iterations of it, but Devil's Night, which is like a proto-purge where these gangs in Detroit sort of get together and start fires, and you think it's random at first, and then it turns out it's like this big corporate guy. What's his fucking name? T-Bird's not the corporate guy. There's a lot of crazy character names in this movie. Besides Eric Draven, the Crow, just call him Eric, just the Raven. He even quotes Edgar Allan Poe. Sorry, I'm not going to get over that.
It is true.
We've got Top Dollar. We've got T-Bird. We have a man named Skank. We have Tintin, the black man with knives.
Fun boy.
Fun Boy. Can't forget Fun Boy. He gets murdered by morphine. He gets forcibly overdosed.
By the band Morphine.
Grange, named after the ZZ Top song.
Grange.
We have that's it. And then Ernie Hudson's in this movie too.
Well, there's more. Gideon.
Those aren't fun. Mickey and Torres aren't
And then
fun
there's
names.
There's this one guy. He's weird. He's called Lead Cop.
Weird.
Lead Cop is a great name for like a band. Oh, look at this. This one just says Badass Criminal. That's Tim Parati.
Badass criminal. Let me see that.
That's cool.
What do we got here? Let's see.
Badass Criminal.
Jugger.
Jugger, you know. He's more than one, or he does it full time.
There's also a lot of additional voices in this movie. Thug with beret in boardroom, uncredited. This one was added by somebody. This one was added by Dale Fry, who clearly played Thug with beret in boardroom.
He's like, do you have to access permission to edit the IMDb?
Also, don't forget other uncredited people who put themselves in this movie. Brianne Brosey, who played children. A bunch of children. Not just one. Phoebe Dollar. James O'Barr playing the role of robber. Hamilton Perkins as bouncer.
Phoebe Dollar sounds like a great stage name.
It does. Kai Portman, also a great stage name, as Thug in Boardroom.
Is it K.A.I.?
K.A.I.
I know that guy.
You do?
Oh, no.
It's all right. Nobody else does because he was uncredited. This movie, here's the I've never seen it, and I'm already predisposed against superhero movies. They're not my genre.
I wouldn't say The Crow is a superhero.
That's what I was going to... It doesn't feel like a superhero movie. It's a comic book movie, ostensibly, because it's based on a comic book. But it doesn't really feel like a superhero movie, which I didn't mind. But I did mind that it was really tonally all over the place. Like, it goes from being really serious and definitely, like, R-rated mystery kind of stuff. And then it just throws in moments of levity, which you need in a movie like this, but it throws in too many of them. Like, you get a fart joke in the first 2-ish minutes of the movie. Like, you're talking about someone getting beaten and murdered and raped, and then the next thing is this little girl going to Ernie Hudson and being like, onions make you fart real bad. That's like 3 minutes in. It's weird.
You're giving me flashbacks.
The movie is constantly, it's throwing jokes at you like that almost the entire running time, which is very jarring. It just is.
That's the thing. It's like a classic kind of like Mad TV. Like, also, it's like a Mad TV merged with the Kevin Kerslake video. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Kevin Kerslake directed all of Nirvana's videos. What do you think it got on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, I know what it got on Rotten Tomatoes.
Do you think it deserves that?
No. I think this movie is totally
Campy.
It's campy, and I think it needs, if it gets remade, which it inevitably is going to.
It's right for that.
It's going to get remade, and they're going to get somebody else. I mean, who could play the Crow? I'm trying to think of who would be good for it.
For the Crow, which is all about, I don't want to say it, but it's all about transforming.
Mm-hmm.
Should get a trans actor.
Oh, yeah, that's not a bad move.
Mm-hmm,
I'm trying to think, but that's the other thing is like,
in on that trans train.
I'm trying to think of like, because the only trans actors, or the only trans actresses, excuse me, because that's all I can think of is trans women.
Touche.
That's all like Laverne Cox and the chick from Transparent.
Do you remember The Crying Game?
I've never seen it, but I know the movie.
See, that's again
I've
another
heard of
movie that I actually like. I did not want to shit on. Jay Davidson, I think, was nominated for an Academy Award because he played
he played a woman.
He played I guess a trans. I don't want to say
transitioning.
I don't want to say transvestite because at the time I think that's what it was.
Right.
But he wasn't transitioning either because the big money shot when Gabriel Byrne took his dress off and his panties off, he got cock and balls right in his face.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, no, it was like building up to that.
I mean, I heard that that's the twist. I didn't know that was like...
Did I just ruin it for you?
No. I knew that was the twist, but I didn't know that was like the
listeners,
shot.
I'm sorry. It was. I remember it because it was really difficult to masturbate to. I was like...
I think it's a movie that came out in the 80s.
I was like, I hope no one walks in.
It's pretty bold.
I think it was 92, 91 Crying Game, not the 80s.
Whatever. It's still the 90s. It's bold.
It was bold. And then Jay Davidson did Stargate. And then like nothing after that. I don't think he did like maybe one or two things.
So I'm trying to think, like, I just can't think of any female to male transitions acting wise who I think would be good for this.
What bothers me is the only person that could get away with doing the Crow cosplay is a muscular like Filipino or Asian. You know what I mean? Like I see so many like white dudes try to do the Crow
True.
cosplay, and it's Comic-Con weekend. There's got to be at least
Oh, it's gonna be
2 dozen
yeah.
crows out there right now sweating their asses off.
Yeah.
Because it's not a friendly
No, you're wearing a lot of black.
like leather.
You're painted up. You have to
Patent
get
leather.
the makeup that
White.
stays and
Yeah.
doesn't sweat off in the San Diego heat.
The guys that do the Crow and pull it off, they spend a lot of time in the gym, or they do, the makeup. But the guys that do the Crow and don't pull it off, they end up looking more like Sting, the wrestler.
Right. He's based on the Crow. That's his quote. It's like, I based my look off the Crow. But yeah, I mean, all these guys, they just look puffy. They don't look like they're pulling it off, right?
And it's they have stringy hair and it comes off greasy. I remember, again, to date myself again, I remember watching MTV and then there was an MTV news break to announce the death of Brandon Lee.
Yeah, I buy that.
Yeah.
See, what you need is somebody who's probably going to die in the next couple years. So who are our actors who are most likely to get shot by accident or like overdose? Like if they had somehow figured out, here's what we need. If any time travelers are listening to this podcast, you need to go to Anton Yelchin and get him in this and remake The Crow with him just in time before he gets crushed to death by his Jeep.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be perfect. He'd be good for this. It'd be sort of a different, he'd have to dye his hair black, but I think he could pull it off. Or like a Dane DeHaan.
I was just thinking about who, like, actors that are going to die, and like I didn't predict Philip Seymour Hoffman dying.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't either.
And he was great. So I'm trying to think of like who's an actor that could totally start doing heroin.
Justin Bieber.
He's not an actor, though.
I know, but he could become an actor and do this movie and then die.
Did you see like the Maynard from Tool? He shamed him for liking his music.
What? No.
Yeah, he shamed him on Twitter.
Justin Bieber?
Yeah, Justin Bieber like tweeted out some Tool lyrics, because he's a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And then Maynard like retweeted back, bummer. And then Bieber's wife, Haley, whatever her name is, Baldwin or whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, yeah.
She was like,
she's dating that Baldwin.
they're married. They're
Yeah, that's right.
She was like, she tweeted, she was like, how come you can't he's just a fan. Why do you shit on your fans?
I mean, she's not wrong.
No, she was totally right. I was like, just let Bieber like you.
Let Bieber like you,
Do
man.
you know who I think could die of a heroin overdose that kind of vaguely looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Who?
That would totally be shocking to the comedy world and to the cinema world. Jim Gaffigan.
Oh.
Jim Gaffigan dying of a heroin overdose is like the fucking. You can edit this out.
No, I'm keeping this in. I'm thinking.
I
can't imagine.
You may want to open up for him.
I feel like Jim Gaffigan. Yeah.
Dude, what about Jim Gaffigan as Philip Seymour Hoffman? He kind of looks like
now
him.
that
He'd have to lose some
I
weight
can get behind.
and then gain some weight.
Jim Gaffigan would be a great Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He would. What if this is the podcast that gets the biopic going?
I feel like we've dropped a lot of breadcrumbs for people who like the crow to eat.
Can we,
Much like a crow eats bread.
Can I be honest too? There have been 3 crows that are like living outside of my apartment complex here that I want to kill.
Yeah.
Yes, man. They don't belong here.
Hey, crows are fucking scary birds.
They're
Are they the big ones? Or are they the
they're
grackles?
huge, yeah.
Grackles are the worst.
Grackles.
That's what they are.
Feels like you're making up stuff right
It's like
now.
crow, then raven, then grackle.
I feel like it's Grackle, then Skeksis.
Yeah. And then
Skeksis.
Octavius, just one gigantic crow who's the size of a Prius hatchback.
When you send this
To the internet?
when you send this podcast out, can we hashtag WGA staffing boost?
Of course we can. Oh my God. Listen, WGA, I'm an associate member. Gordon are you in good standing?
I'm not active. No, I have to pay my dues are coming up.
Gordon is not in good standing
No,
right
I am
now.
in good standing.
Oh, he's in good standing.
I'm just inactive.
He's just inactive. We will totally write all of these movie ideas.
Yeah, I can treatment this up.
We can treatment. We will have pitch decks ready to take out to all of anyone who's ready to throw money at us.
PDF
To help us. Look, what I'm saying is if you're a studio executive and you have a grudge against a young actor who you want to see maybe overdose a little bit.
Get a grackle in them.
Yeah. I'm going to go buy a grackle from this dude I met on the corner. This is perfect. Yeah, we got you. We're here to help you with our Crow remake, The Grackle.
It is ripe for remake, but I don't know who's gonna do that.
I don't know. Someone is inevitably going to, and it's not going to be somebody who should. It's not going to be like a David Fincher or Ari Aster or anybody who it would make sense to make a remake. That's sort of like someone who could do this movie justice, which is not easy. Which is honestly wouldn't be that hard to do because this movie's like totally middle of the road.
I feel like it wasn't done justice the first time.
Right.
The only one who did their job right was the costume designer, who was like, "This is the Crow." For the next 5 decades.
If the costume designer was really doing a good job, bulletproof vest.
Oh man,
Make that part of the wardrobe.
That's not. What is it? What's that called? Kevlar.
Kevlar.
That doesn't. You gotta.
Kevlar, also uncredited extra. He did not appear in this movie. Kevlar.
Kevin Lara would have changed this whole movie.
This is I think I saw this movie and I'd heard a lot about it and I know a lot of people love it and
not me.
I don't either. I don't think it's bad because there were parts I was like, I enjoyed it, the action sequences in the same way that I enjoy watching a good action sequence, A good action sequence is like balletic and really cool. Like the scene when T-Bird is duct taped to a car and then the Crow does some crazy shit to make his like foot stay on the gas pedal. I don't know how that worked. I don't know what Rube Goldberg machine he was working with. And he just drives off and like leaves a grenade and fly. There's this giant explosion that's way too big for one car, but it's just beautiful. And I love a sequence like that.
Are you talking about the T-Bird fight sequence?
Right.
I don't know what that is.
But that's the thing. It's like you intersperse it's movies trying to be too much.
It was trying to I
gotta
think
simplify.
Besides the main reason I don't like it, other than it kind of sucks, it's because of the whenever I see the movie, I automatically think of my girlfriend.
Hey man,
that I should have. I feel like as a half Mexican, you're supposed to impregnate your first girlfriend and then never leave your hometown.
And you didn't do your calling.
No, Dodgers, Padres, Rams. I didn't do that, and so whenever I see the Crow, it reminds me of her and of the life I have now. But I do hate the movie though because I've seen that. I know there's a kid out there, but I also hate that it's sort of like a pillar of '90s culture that I just wish didn't exist because. Looking back now, it's like, 90s is kind of similar to the 80s, but that's where technology came about. But that's also where this goth, dark, industrial culture really kind of came to fruition.
Yeah.
And now we have like steampunk, and I think that can be traced back to The Crow loosely.
And probably a little bit. There's a lot of people wielding knives, like that are sword-length knives. And also actual swords.
Yeah.
There's a dude who has just a sword cabinet. And this movie's fucking, it's fine. It is what it is.
If you like The Cure and Smashing Pumpkins, who are not on the soundtrack, I don't think.
Amazingly enough, they're not.
Then you'll like this movie. They probably wanted too much. It's like, we can get Smashing Pumpkins or a helmet.
Or we can get sort of Joy Division. Oh, we'll take that. No, The Cure is on this. They did the title theme.
I said Smashing Pumpkins.
You said, Smashing Pumpkins.
No, The Cure is definitely on. The Cure, they have 2 songs. I think Burn and The Crow.
Yep. You're right.
Two original songs.
You're 100% right.
No, I had this on CD that I shoplifted.
By the way, we didn't even get to the sequel, and we won't go into it because
I never
that's
saw
not the movie.
sequel because it's tainted. It was tainted meat.
Have you ever looked up what the character's name is in the sequel?
Jimmy Draven?
It's even worse.
What is it?
Ash Corvin.
Oh, it's still got the V and the E and the N.
Ash Corvin.
Ash Corvin.
It's pretty bad. Also, Iggy Pop is in that movie. Iggy Pop was the producer's first choice for Fun Boy, but he was unable to commit due to his recording schedule.
Fun Boy? I think that's the old Stooges song.
And that's where they got the name from.
Fun House.
This movie, you know what's more fun than watching this movie? A lot of things. And that's why we're going to wrap it up.
Oh, man.
Gordon, I am glad that you made me watch this movie.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Look, hey, I have a greater appreciation for like Chad Stahelski now, and
I feel like that's a thread that needs to be unraveled, you know?
we'll get there. That's the spin-off podcast. Listen, if you subscribe to my Patreon that doesn't exist yet,
Finding Chad.
I'm going to find Chad. Hanging Chad. That's what this podcast is going to be about.
Are you really going to put up a Patreon?
I don't know.
You like post photos of you or videos of you eating in the shower and stuff?
That's not a bad idea. I feel like there's a market for that. I mean, I already do have a Facebook group that you should join if you haven't yet, and a lot of you haven't. Because I know how many people listen to this, and I know how many people are in that group.
It's a closed group, I think.
Yeah, you request to join,
But
and I approve.
You don't like people peeking in the group.
Well, I don't want just randos showing up.
You don't want like fucking trolls from
Exactly.
Where are you from in Texas again?
From Colleyville, Texas.
Where? How far is that?
From here? From like
From Houston.
From Houston?
Yeah.
Pretty far.
Okay.
It's like a 6-hour drive.
Well, that's like almost across the whole fucking state.
Yeah.
How far were you from the Luby's massacre?
Oh man, where did the Luby's massacre happen?
Luby's?
I know there are multiple Luby's.
I'm just kidding.
I've been to a Luby's.
I've never been to a Luby's.
I've been to a handful of Luby's.
I bring that up. I know we're trying to wrap up, but I bring that up because it was just the anniversary of the San Isidro McDonald's massacre here, which was at a certain point the #1 mass shooting in America. And then I think Luby's happened after that, and that broke the San Isidro record.
Yep, and then Virginia Tech broke that record.
Oh, really? Luby's held that record for a long ass time.
Luby's, hey, don't mess with Texas.
Where was that Luby's at?
That was in Killeen.
Oh, Killeen. I remember that name.
It's right outside of like Temple, Fort Hood ish,
I know that.
somewhere around there. Anyway,
You don't want any rhubarbs from Fort Hood coming into this group.
no, exactly.
I'm going to join the group because I want to keep track of the traction that we get here.
Join it, and you should join because it's a fun. I got to start posting stuff in there. And if more of you join, then I'll be like, oh, I need to create more hashtag content for my hashtag fans.
There you go.
Hashtag blockheads. That's what they're called, Gordon.
I like that.
Now you're a blockhead.
I'm in.
Blockhead Nation.
It's like Gumby.
Except we're the good guys.
Yes.
The blockheads are the villains in Gumby.
That's right.
Misunderstood, as we learned in the Gumby movie.
Mm.
So, Gordon, where can our hip millennial listeners follow you for your hot takes?
I'm at Gordon Downs on Twitter and at Gordon Downs with the Z on Instagram. I don't really post a lot. I mean, that's really not a way to get people to follow me.
That's fine.
But
you post about shows you do down here
I
in
post
San Diego.
shows and occasionally I do jokes online. But it's like you gotta, if you really want to get burnt, you gotta come to the fire.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means.
I don't know what that means either, but I like
I
it.
don't know what that means. We're
I don't
doing
know.
shows tonight, so
Right. And this isn't going to come out until after the fact, but boy, howdy, go read our Twitter and
we're gonna have
Instagrams to see how those shows went.
We're gonna have a good time.
Over at the Comedy Palace. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. If you are in Europe, specifically in Scotland, I'm doing Edinburgh Fringe. I'll be there doing my show, a full hour stand-up comedy, August 1st through August 25th, 11:45 p.m. at the Place Hotel. Check my website for details.
I do have one thing to plug.
What you got?
I think I am supposed to be refereeing a roast battle on August 3rd.
Oh, in L.A.?
No, at Petco Park. We're gonna
Wait, what?
we're gonna be opening up for a 90s Throwdown concert with like Coolio and Vanilla Ice.
In Stone Temple Pilots?
No, that would be big. They're playing down the street actually. So I think I might be refereeing a roast battle between a character portraying Seinfeld and another character portraying Ace Ventura.
Oh, wow.
Because it's all 90s references.
Okay.
So cruise out to Petco Park in San Diego August 3rd.
Go for it.
Park at the park.
I can't wait to hear about this. This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.